Good morning there, Year 3, and how are you today? Welcome to your English lesson today. So, before we begin our English, what I'd like you to do is this little retrieval activity. So, thinking about what we learnt yesterday, okay, you've got these questions on your worksheet. What I want you to do is answer these 3 questions. So, the first one is I want you to identify the noun and the verb in this independent clause. So, you can circle it or you can underline it. Circle the coordinating conjunction in the sentence below. So you can either circle or you can draw a line underneath it. And then underline the independent clauses and circle the coordinating conjunctions. That's what we've been doing in the last few lessons. So I want you to have a go at that now. So pause the video. Do that now for me. Welcome back. Shall we mark? Do you remember like yesterday? Get your pencil. Let's mark. Okay then. So, there we go. All right then, so the noun and the verb. So the verb was walked, quickly with the adverb, that's how I was walking, and the noun was work, okay? Work was the noun, walked was the verb. Quickly, if you did underline that, is an adverb. It wasn't the verb, okay? Now, circling the coordinating conjunction in the sentence below, okay? James didn't want to go shopping, nor did he want to go to Grandma's house. The coordinating conjunction there was nor. Did you get that one? Fantastic. Okay. And then the last one, underline the independent clauses. Now, do you remember they are 2 sentences that can stand alone and make sense by themselves, and they are connected with that coordinating conjunction. I had always wanted to be part of the football team. I thought they would not want me. The coordinating conjunction there is but. Did you get all those? Well done. If you're still finding this tricky, go back over the last videos and just refresh your mind and have another go at them. Okay? Brilliant. Let's move on to today then. So in English today, we are thinking about using subordinating conjunctions. A little bit different. Now, to be successful in this today, you are going to be identifying the subject and verb in a clause. You're going to recognise that a complex sentence contains a main clause, which is that independent clause, it stands on its own, and a subordinating clause, which is dependent on the main clause. A subordinating clause does not make sense by itself. It needs to have the main clause to support it, okay? You will also be successful if you know you need a comma when we use the subordinating clause at the beginning of a sentence. And we're going to go through that in a little bit. And did you know that you can change your subordinating clauses? So instead of like the independent clauses where you had the 2 and they were joined together, with the subordinating clause, you can either have it at the end or at the beginning of the sentence. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that today. Exciting stuff. All right then. So before we begin, what is a conjunction? Okay. What is a conjunction? What is a conjunction? Pause the video here. I want you to quickly note down what a conjunction is. Okay, what is a conjunction? So there are 2 main types of conjunctions, all right? So a conjunction links 2 or more words, phrases, or clauses together. And that's what we've been having a look at, isn't it, over the last couple of days, our coordinating conjunctions. So we have our coordinating conjunctions that link 2 main clauses together as an equal pair, and they create a compound sentence. And we remember it with the acronym FANBOYS. Now, a subordinating conjunction introduces a subordinating clause. Now, you can remember some of the most useful subordinating conjunctions with another acronym. Okay, and I'm going to wow you with something now, and actually it might be a bit scary, so just be careful. Okay, and it is with the rarest monsters on the planet, a wabub, and shouting, I saw a wabub. Can you say that? Brilliant. So this will help you to remember, like fanboys. You will need to use this to remember I need to put my teeth back in. You will need to use this to remember the initial letter of each of these subordinating conjunctions. I'm going to share that with you now, okay? So I saw a wabub. It's an acronym to help you remember the first letter of some of the most important subordinating conjunctions, which are if, which is the I, since, which is the S, as, which is the A, when, which is the W, A, which is although, W, which is the while, A, which is the after, B, which is before, U, which is until, and B for because. Okay, now this is going to be a little bit trickier because it's not as simple as fanboys, but I'm sure now you've got fanboys stuck in your mind, and if I asked you what that meant, I bet you could recall it straight away. So this one is a little bit more tricky. So what I want you to do is think about how you could remember this. So it could be that you say it to yourself and you have a look at this screen here and you keep saying that I means if and the S means since and the A means as, W means when, and you could keep going through that if you wanted to. Or another way to remember is by writing it down. And it depends. Some people remember things by writing. Some people remember things by saying. Some people remember things by doing some actions to it as well. So I want you to think about what is the best way for you to remember this acronym. What could you do? I'd like you to pause the video here and have a go at trying to remember that now. Can you do that for me? Brilliant. Welcome back. I hope you came up with lots of different ideas. Fantastic. Okay, let's carry on with our lesson then. So, how do we use subordinating conjunctions? Okay. So, a subordinating conjunctions are the first word within the subordinating clause. Now, remember that subordinating clause, it doesn't make sense on its own. But when they are used with a main clause, they create a complex, a multi-clause, that means more than one sentence, a complex sentence. Okay, so let me explain further. Subordinating clauses will always have a subject and a verb within them. Okay, so here we've got after she smiled. Now we know that the after is our subordinating conjunction. It's from I saw a wabub. She is our subject and smiled is our verb. Okay, do you want to go through that again just to remember what a subordinating conjunction will have and a subordinating clause will have? All right, if you want to pause here, you can have a read through that again and say it to yourself again. Welcome back. Shall we move on? Excellent. Okay. So here, let me move my camera up here so we're not blocking anything. Okay. So here we've got a subordinating clause and the subordinating conjunction. So we've got to look for that clause that if we took it out, it wouldn't make any sense by itself. And that subordinating conjunction. And I've got a little tip up here with the lady shouting, I saw a wabub. That's going to help you. Remember earlier when you tried different ways to try and remember it? Try and have a think of that now. It doesn't matter if you still can't remember it. That's not a problem. If you want, you can write it onto your worksheet to help you. All right. So let's have a look at this one. The eager pupils sped into school when the bell rang. So let's have a look. Where is the subordinating clause? Well, if I pulled out there, the eager pupils sped into school, would that make sense? It would, wouldn't it? If I pulled out when the bell rang, would that make sense as a sentence? Not on its own. It would need something to support it, wouldn't it? Why did the bell ring? What was happening? So, and if I have a look in that sentence as well, if I look down here, can you see? If I go along, I've got that subordinating conjunction when. When is here. And that tip from earlier, when is always at the beginning of my subordinating clause. So I know that this is going to be my subordinating clause. Okay, so let me show you. My picture. So when the bell rang, here is my subordinating clause. And when is my subordinating conjunction. Did you understand that? Okay. Let's have a look at another one. Okay. So the subordinating clause. So what part of the sentence, if I took it out, would it make sense by itself? And what's the conjunction there? Okay. So remember to use this here, down here, to have a look. And a tip, Mrs. Hand's top tip of the day, is that your subordinating clause will start with your subordinating conjunction. That's going to help you. All right. So have a look at that. Pause the video if you need to. Just have a chat, have a talk. You don't need to write anything down, just thinking at the moment. Okay, shall we have a look? So our subordinating clause, let me read it to you. Whales give birth to live young as they are mammals. This is my main clause here. Whales give birth to live young. That's my main clause, my independent clause. My subordinating clause is here. As they are mammals. They are mammals on its own wouldn't make sense. And this word here, as, tells me that that's my subordinating conjunction. If I have a look down here, we can see it. Okay. So as they are mammals, and as is my subordinating conjunction. Did you get that right? Fantastic. Well done. Okay. So this one now. The hopeless rugby team lost the game because they hadn't trained. What is the subordinating clause? What is the subordinating conjunction? Maybe try and find that conjunction first that will lead you to the subordinating clause. Pause the video here. Have a chat with the person in the room. Okay, welcome back. What did we decide? Well, if I see here, because is here, isn't it? So because they hadn't trained, that is going to be my subordinating clause, isn't it? And my subordinating conjunction, it's here. All right, because they hadn't trained is our subordinating clause, and because is our conjunction. Excellent, well done. Now, so in the sentences so far, the subordinating clause has always come after the main clause. Now, do you remember at the beginning I told you the very special thing about this is you can have your main clause and then your subordinating clause, but it can swap over. Amazing. Okay, so are you ready? The eager pupils sped into school when the bell rang. Watch this. When the bell rang, comma, very important to remember that, the eager pupils sped into school. Does that still make sense? It does, doesn't it? Now, thinking about the other sentences last time when we were looking at coordinating conjunctions, if we swap the two main clauses over, it wouldn't quite make sense, would it? However, that's what's special about subordinating clauses. We can swap them over and they will still make sense. Fantastic. So we're going to have a look at a couple of the others now, all right? Subordinating conjunctions can be used at the first word in the sentence, but this is a really good thing to remember. When the subordinating clause comes before the main clause, comma, make sure you remember to use a comma to mark where the subordinating clause ends. That's really, really important, okay? So it's identified there. Now, I'm going to stop the video here and we're going to move to part 2. So let's have a look at the next video. We're going to continue this in a minute. You take care now, year 3, and I'll see you on the other side.